Welcome back to part 2 of Aman's Unfiltered Season 1 finale. Today marks my episode number 30. So, if you thought part 1 was fun, buckle up because we are taking things up a notch. The part 2 of this episode is not just fun, I'm going to be wrapping it with a bang, sharing reflections, unexpected conversations, and a glimpse into what's coming next. Plus, I might just have a few surprises up my sleeves. So sit back, relax, and let's close out season 1 the way we started. Unfiltered, unapologetic, and full of great conversations. Here we go. Let's pick up where we left off from part 1. I also did an episode on gender identity recently, right? And I talked to a very strong advocate about gender identity. My question to you is, how do you think people within the Asian or our Indian community can become more accepting on the different type of identities, gender identities?
Like as in this whole
being gay, lesbian, non-binary, LGBTQ.
What was the question? How would they accept it?
How do you think people within the community can be more accepting of the idea of it, or of even one of the family member fell into this category?
Okay, I was about to say to each their own until you said if it's one of their members of their family. Because I was my personal perception and what I feel like what the community should adapt is, if it doesn't bother you, if it doesn't affect your life, let people do or be whoever they want to be. Okay? I understand for centuries we've been coming up with male, female, male, female, male, female.
Right.
Now, my personal opinion, and I'm going to say it, and I don't care who gets offended, because if you're doing, like, if you want to be whatever you want to be, don't force the other person to call them by their pronoun.
Right.
Right? And the reason I say that is because we're used to a different way. And if you don't get what you expect, you can't just sit and cry about it.
Right.
And I feel like it's become it's become crazy overboard, where I identify as this, I identify as a table, I identify as a dog. Like, it just went crazy places.
Yeah.
You know, for attention. So I kind of get why the older generation is also confused and don't understand what's going on.
My son identifies himself as a cat. Do I meow?
Exactly. You've seen videos of them meowing and woofing, and I don't know what's going on. Imagine being in the older generation's mind right now and seeing this.
Oh my god, now that you're saying it like
imagine,
this.
like, that's such a hard thing to, like, adapt to. And okay, if it's their own kid being either trans, gay, or not gay, or whatever, like whatever gender profile that they want to.
Yeah.
I feel like in the old school way, if they want kids, they're gonna have problems, right? They're gonna have problems with it. But if they're open-minded enough to be like, maybe my son who's gay can adopt. So there's a lot of ways in life that you can get what you want, but everyone, like the older generation, they've been grown up in a way where everything's binary and everything has to happen a certain way. And like the circle of life is, you come up, you get married, you have kids, and it goes on. But some people don't want kids. Some people are not straight. Some people don't like kids. A lot of things, a lot of factors. And for them to adapt to that, it's tough. But I don't think it's impossible. I think you just have to open your mind.
Yep.
You just have to learn to open your mind. Yeah, it's hard because you're 60, 70 years old. You're thinking about the same way. But if something's coming in front of your face and it's being introduced, like, learn to take it, not just reject it.
Educate
right
yourself.
Away. Yeah, educate yourself and not just reject it right away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this gender identity thing is quite a topic. It's quite a interesting one because
go listen to the topic.
I will. There's a few that I want to listen to.
There's a lot, not just a few. There's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Cool.
Okay. Next question. What is that one thing that you think has changed drastically from our grandparents' generation to ours?
Talking parents, you're talking grandparents.
Grandparents' generation to ours. Gala सूख गया इसका.
Mindset / expectations. These are two things that has drastically changed.
And they're drastically opposite.
They're drastically opposite ends. and it's not easy to
Give me a situational example.
of what has changed since my grandparents' time. Oh, this is a tough one for me because I don't have the best relationship with them. But I would say there's just a way of doing things and expecting things. Like me being the first grandson, I was very expected to visit all the time.
Right.
Okay? And go and, even though I didn't have much of a relationship,
Right.
I was expected to respect. I was expected to do whatever they wanted. I was expected all of that. In our day and age, we don't give a flying fuck. If someone wrongs us, we out.
Even if
Right?
that means family.
Yes, even if that means family, even if that means anything. I personally, I mean, I just feel like the views of how things are done, because of course technology changed so many things, right? And they're not used to it, of things being efficient and streamlined and
Right.
whatever. And like there's 100 ways to do something now, as based to what they say. But I can't answer that specifically because if you ask for my parents, I can go on and on. But if you go
Okay.
grandparents, I don't have much of a context to be able
Right.
to, yeah, because I don't live with them or anything.
Okay. Well, fair enough, because my next question is actually a correlation to what you just said. Do you think technology has made families more disconnected today?
That's very debatable. Okay. Gen Z, yes, they whack. But the reason
Oh
I say that, the reason I say that is because millennials, we know how to balance.
Right.
We know how to balance technology with interpersonal relationships.
We are no internet era
Yeah,
and
and
internet
internet
era.
era.
Okay.
And we're not crazy addicted, and we know that there's value in spending time outside and spending going and doing cherished memories, traveling with your parents and having real conversations and not texting and phone calls and video calls only. Yeah, Gen Z is too addicted to their phones. They're too
Again, that's not my question.
yeah. Well, your question
You're
was based-
attacking
okay.
The Tari generation, you're attacking the Gen
because they
Zs.
attack us thinking we're old and stupid.
I understand that. But clearly you have a very strong...
What was the question? I do have a very strong, because I keep facing it. And yeah. And it happens in my stand-up shows as well. So
You went on a rant just
yeah,
now.
tell me though, what
Complete
was the question?
off-topic rant.
What was the question?
Do you think
Oh yeah,
technologies
technology. So the reason I
have
was
made
saying
families
that,
disconnected, not generations?
Yeah. No. So that makes sense. So when I'm saying the kids are Gen Z of the family, they're not gonna have.
I did not. No. Again.
Okay. I would say it's connected us in a lot of ways too, but it's definitely disconnected us, and I'm sure a lot of people answer it that way. But connected ways where it's easier to get in touch. Disconnected, that you don't have real conversations and real moments and like things that you can remember. Because if you have a conversation on a video call or a call as opposed to in person,
Yeah.
I think even scientifically and psychologically, it sticks in your mind more. You get what I'm saying? Like if I
Yeah.
do a serious topic about, let's say, taking the business further, and I do it on video call with my parents, as opposed to in person in meeting, I can see their emotions. They can see mine. I can see their reactions. They can see mine properly. Like it's more face to face. You're more connected.
Yeah.
Than just having a screen in front of you and talking to it.
Right.
Yeah, I would say both, but I would say it's disconnected us more than connected us.
Okay.
Yeah. And Gen Z sucks. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. They don't. They're the future of our generations.
I am so sorry to
I
a
said I'm
lot of
kidding.
my friends, siblings who are Gen Zs. Please excuse this
I was kidding, guys.
idiot.
I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
I don't even know where to go on now. You just like completely threw me off.
Aisha,
But
that was
okay.
the point.
if you were in a relationship, or you have been in a relationship, when you were, I'm saying the word were
Yeah,
a
you're
lot, like
phrasing it
past
three
tense.
different ways, but in a relationship, yes.
When you were,
Yeah.
okay, how do you personally handle balancing work life and relationship?
So I'm very fortunate that my business is a family / sole proprietorship, which
Yeah.
I have systemized things in so many ways that things are on autopilot that it doesn't need my time all the time,
Mm.
right? It definitely happened that when I'm in like when I was in a relationship and I was at dinner with the person and I get a phone call in between or like messages or emails and stuff. But I make sure that if it's not urgent, I won't take it.
Yeah.
I make sure that I'm spending time with that other person without distractions. And yeah, having the right people, the right team, the right like ways of doing things can save you so much time and not have to be there like all the time or be fully on it. Now, it's obviously different in many situations, but the way I balance it is I either try to get my work done before I meet the person or I make sure that I'll do it when I'm not with the person. Right? And then sometimes the woman, like the other person, has to compromise. Like in the sense that if there are real urgent work or stuff that has to be done, or even if it's not urgent, but it needs to get done.
Understanding is
They
key,
have to
right?
understand that like, if you want to eat, I gotta work.
Or you go work.
Yeah, or
and
you
we
go
and
work,
we Dutch.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, those were great perspectives from
Yeah.
all my previous episodes.
I hope so. I
But
don't
now here's the fun part that you didn't know
Okay.
was coming.
know. Okay.
I made some extra bonus questions that I want to ask you, which has nothing to do with any of the episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. My first bonus question to you is if you could relive one topic in your own life, which one would it be and why? Relive one episode in your life that has occurred.
Like do the way like what the episode's perspective is.
Not on my episode. I'm talking about your life situations.
Right. I understand, but I'm saying how it applies in my life.
Yes,
Like which is something that I would do.
in your own life. Or maybe you might have already lived the situation and it's long gone, but it's
Yeah.
something you might want to relive again because it was a very good memory to you. So, based on that, what would be that one thing you want to relive in your life and why?
That's a very good question.
Of course, I ask only good questions on my show.
and
I wouldn't be a
I'm-
podcast
and
host
I'm
now,
the
would
one
I?
who's vain, guys. But I don't know. That's a tough one. What would I relive? Well, one of the topics was about the one you mentioned about supporting local businesses.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Mhm.
something I've done. That's something I would
Mhm.
continue doing. That's something I would keep on doing, and I would encourage more people to do.
Okay.
Another one would probably be maybe not speak too much to my barber.
Nothing to do with podcast
I mean,
topics.
in the sense,
Stop it.
the topic was right that how opening up to your hairdresser
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much saying that maybe I should be more wary. Like I've learned something from it that will apply to my life, where I'm like I shouldn't be too open with a stranger, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what other stuff there is that. What was the other? Give me one topic.
No, give me an episode that's happened in your personal life that you might want to relive.
Mention as a topic, like for example.
Oh, maybe I went to France and met this particular person, or I traveled somewhere here and I wish I could go back there.
What does that have to do with
Or-
the topics of your podcast?
It's not about my podcast.
Oh,
Listen
I thought-
to your.
I thought
Oh
you
my
keep saying that
God.
It's something relevant from the
No,
podcast.
if
that
you could relive one episode in your
Oh, I
own
thought
life,
you meant one episode of the
which one would it be and
Yeah,
why?
Okay.
My dear listeners,
Yeah. I got confused. When you
that's
said
what I just said,
episode-
not from my
Right, now you
podcast.
said it.
I
Now you
said that
it.
before.
Oh, you did? Okay. Maybe I was selective hearing.
You do. No, you
Um,
do have selective hearing,
Maybe
clearly.
I don't know.
And now it's
Um,
going to go into your shadi.com profile.
Yeah, sure. Oh god, this damn topic. I was gonna literally bar you from bringing up marriage on this topic. I get it enough in my life. And okay, can I ask a question? Why is everyone so obsessed about marriage? Let's have a real conversation. Why is it that people who are married always want the single person to be married? Why is it that me being single, not having someone, and I go out with a couple, they're like, when are you going to get married so I can also hang out with your wife?
I don't know how to answer that question because I don't fall into the category.
Okay, but why? You've literally said 7 times for me to get married indirectly. Why?
It's just content for
No,
my
no, I know, but I'm
podcast.
talking generally.
Dude,
I'm talking generally.
in general, I think for people, they're just nosy.
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then they have nothing better to do but ask
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
And like for me, I have so many friends who are unmarried, and
Yeah.
you know all the friends
Yeah.
in my life
Yeah.
who are
Yeah.
unmarried. You are one of them, one of my best friends,
Yeah.
unmarried, and and I never ask them, when are you gonna get
Yeah. Do
married?
you ever look down on them
Why
for
would
not being married?
never?
Yeah. So that's good, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying because it's definitely a topic in our community.
It's
That's
because
too
people
much.
don't have anything else to talk
That's
about.
true. That's true.
Right.
And life
I'll give
revolving.
you a very good example. And I know this particular person is going to be like, they're going to identify themselves because of this situation. So when I was dating Rajiv, right, I had many people ask me, like, oh, you've been dating for a while. When are you going to get engaged? And I'm like, whenever that happens. Civil answer. When I get engaged, the question shifts to when are you going to get married?
Yeah.
And I'm like, again, whenever that happens.
Yeah.
And these questions are being asked by the same set of aunties.
Mhm.
Okay. Now I'm married, not even 2 months into my marriage. When are you going to have kids? And I'm like, Meng Suak, what's it got to do with you?
Yeah.
I'll have kids when I have kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Given my husband's profession or whatever it is, they'll do. I've had one kid. When are you going to have the second one?
Mm.
At this point, I am like baffled. I'm fuming. And I'm like, mind your own business.
Yeah.
So then I turned around and I'm like, oh, I heard your daughter is divorced. How's that going?
Yeah.
And she just looked at me and she's like, okay, I'll see you later, beta. And I'm like, good on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So these people basically, I feel, just ask so many questions about when are you going to be married, when you're going to have kids. They want to know what's happening in your life because it's a way for them to run away from what's
Escape their
happening
own
in
lives.
their own
Yeah,
lives.
I guess. I mean, it's quite surprising, but like I've even had people in my generation, my age,
Yeah.
get married. The moment they're married, they look at me. They're like, "It's your
Now
turn
it's your
now."
turn.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, dude, whatever. I just was wondering because I'm like, I don't understand the fascination of why people force this so much. But back to your question, what's one episode I would want to relive? Definitely
Mhm.
my college days.
Yeah. Who
Not
doesn't
the
want to
way-
live
Not
that?
the way it went.
No,
the
not.
way it went.
Yeah, you don't want to be
Yeah,
deported.
not again. But like, I would definitely want to redo that.
Yeah.
And I honestly wish I went to the States. It's something that I always wish that I did instead of Australia.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason for that is because I won't lie, I wanted what I saw on TV.
You wanted what?
Yeah, the
like
college dorm parties, the fun,
Manhattan.
the frat houses, the places. Just being in the States at that time,
Central
I think was
Park.
way better than what it is now. But yeah, let's not get all political. But yeah.
No. No. No.
No, I don't do politics. Don't worry, I don't do politics.
Yeah. No. We don't do that on my show
Yeah,
either.
I don't do it.
Okay. Moving on. What's one controversial opinion you hold that you think would fit perfectly for Aman's Unfiltered?
What's one opinion
Controversial
Mhm.
opinion you hold
that should be on your
that
podcast?
should be on my podcast?
Have you done one about marriage and people talking about marriage?
No.
That's a controversial one. You should
Yeah.
definitely get on.
Do you
Big
have
one.
any spectators?
I mean,
You have any
maybe-
auntie who's willing to come onto my show?
oh, you mean like ask the source? Oh, I thought.
Should
was
I?
thinking,
Should
yeah,
I?
I mean, that's what you've been doing. So if you can ask the source, I don't think anyone.
Find me an auntie. Any auntie want to come talk to me?
They might want to come and talk and try to prove to you why marriage is the most important thing. So
Or
that
they'll
would
just
be
try to
cool.
prove me wrong.
Yeah,
That's just it
yeah,
for doing this
yeah,
show.
Yeah. That's true. And another topic would be siblings. Well, you've already pretty much done it with the whole will thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just the marriage topic.
Okay. Just in general, like imagine you're at a dinner table setting, okay? Nothing to do with my podcast episodes, all right? What do you think is a topic that would be the most heated family argument at a dinner table?
Any topic?
Yeah, any topic that is like definitely going to start a heated debate or an argument on a dinner table.
DEI?
Huh?
The gender thing. That's definitely gonna start. a
Okay,
massive
imagine
debate.
you are having dinner with your parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fact that I want to marry a non-Indian.
Ooh,
Yeah,
interesting.
That's gonna start a massive. That's already started it before, but now
We did
pretty-
touch that in
Yeah,
your episode.
Yeah. So that's one. Another one would be moving out, which I did.
Right.
Another one would be not wanting to have kids, even though, and I mean, that doesn't apply to me. I can't wait to have them, but just saying generally.
Right.
Whose butter chicken is better, the daughter-in-law or the mother-in-law?
Okay, forget it. Let's end it there. Jeez, oh my God, Chad,
What was
you
that
are
not-
such
was-
a
Did that not answer your
sure,
question?
sure. Yep, that it.
You asked anything. You
Yeah,
gotta put a
one.
barrier
Like,
on
give
it.
me
Oh,
one
you
good
wanted
one, but okay.
I gave you three.
Three,
two
you
good
did.
ones,
Okay,
two
thank
good
you.
ones. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, if you were to come back as a guest on my show, what would be a topic that you would want to talk about? Besides this whole why do people ask me being married?
Yeah. I would say
Give me one topic that I should address.
in-laws joining the business. Yeah.
Wait,
In
in-laws.
any which way. If, for example, just like bringing in someone who's not from the family in a family business, from the in-laws side to come and join the family business. What can happen? What won't happen? How it can destroy the relationship? How it can maybe improve the relationship? There's so many different ways.
That is so specific.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is
Yeah.
so specific that
it
you
is,
had to
but
say
I'm
an
sure-
in-law.
But I'm sure because the reason, I mean, if you say anyone random coming to join the business.
So
who
when you say
cares?
in-law, it's like, okay, could it be like your future mother-in-law,
Yes,
future,
Anybody.
but just
Anybody from the other side of the family that comes into the other side of the family's business.
oh my God, this can start a whole new wait. Okay, so what if that person from that family brings a lot onto the
A
table?
lot of value.
A lot of value.
That depends on, firstly, how they perceive value. Secondly, like as in how the family who owns the business perceives value. And secondly, if that's the case, then amazing.
Right.
Like that maybe. But first of all, you never know what can happen. So what I want to know is it a good idea? Is it worth taking the risk to let that person in? Because it could either damage your business or it could exceed it.
Right.
Exceed like the expectations. I honestly, my personal opinion, I think there's more downfall than up.
Okay, I'm gonna call you back in my next season, and we're gonna do a whole episode on this
Oh,
now.
damn.
Thanks, thank you. You've already given.
I mean, let me see. Let me check
So-
my schedule.
I'm gonna be doing a video podcast in my next season, and I guess we know who's gonna be my first guest again.
Am I doing the first of the next season too?
Why not? You've given
I
me such a
mean,
good
I
idea.
did, but like you can put me in the middle if you want. I don't have to open it again. They might want to hear other people opening. That's my point.
But you have so many
I have so many
interesting
things to say,
insights, and
what
you're
to
so
do.
controversial. I love it. You're the perfect fit for my show, and probably the only, because nobody has been as honest besides Panita
Yeah.
and Auntie
Yeah,
Dolly, right, and
yeah.
a few more. But you have been the most like
I'm candid. I'm Exactly.
exactly.
Full on.
Yeah,
I don't
perfect.
I don't like living life with a filter. Screw filters.
Okay. If I could call on one guest in my next season for a really controversial topic, who do you see coming onto my show?
I ain't getting in trouble here, woman. Good try, but I ain't doing that.
No, come
because
on, give me-
Honestly, nothing comes to mind because
The fact that you just said that to me,
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
getting me into trouble. A name had already come into your head.
Honestly, nothing came in my head. Like, I wouldn't even know where to think or what topic. I mean,
Any person who would have like controversial insights that would fit my show.
I'm trying to think of a topic first and then the person.
No, just give me a person. Just give me a name
Yeah.
of a person or
who's
anyone
like
you know.
Someone who was a controversial, like similar to me, where they would have a lot
Yes.
of viewpoints. and
Yes.
Similar conversations to say. Who's a good debater I know?
Ash?
I mean, yeah, he's actually a very good speaker.
Yeah.
He is. He does have a lot of viewpoints.
A lot.
Yeah, and he's a good guy too. He's
Yep.
a very close friend. You should try to get him. on,
Also
actually.
single.
Yeah. You gotta stop. He's not coming on your podcast if you say he's that single and all that shit. I'm telling you straight up. I feel like, honestly, Aman, I'm starting to feel like I'm in a freaking relationship management thingy right now.
Ash is gonna hate me.
No shit. Like, I would fucking hate it. I hate it that when you ask me about marriage and stuff because clearly it's not in my control. But, or it might be, but I just choose not to at present.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
No,
I
but
won't
it's
until I
better-
find
it's-
the right person.
No, but it's better late than finding the wrong person
Yeah,
in life,
exactly.
right? That is
Exactly.
something that I really believe in.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be a topic.
Hmm?
Whether it's better to do it based on time, because our community always is rushing us to get married based
Yeah.
on either the woman's biological clock or the fact that you're getting old and you're not going to have any potential. Like for a man, I'm saying,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
old, you won't get any nice women. And I mean, that's something that hits home. Like my mom used to say to me,
Mm-hmm.
don't come to me after 30.
Hey?
Because she was like, this is when I was in my late 20s as well. Don't come to after that, you won't have any candidates. And they're
What do
like,
you mean you won't
yeah,
have any
yeah,
candidates?
I
And you're
know,
saying it in an
I
Indian
know,
accent.
I know, because that's how
Like
I imitate.
mimicking
That's
your
how
mom.
I imitate my mom. I do it on stage. I got to do it here. So
Oh my god.
I love my mom, of course, and she's done more than wonders for me. But that was So she's basically like you become spoiled milk, I guess. But my answer to her was, "Don't worry, the younger girls are getting older.
The younger girls are also getting
There's
older.
gonna be a lot more.
There'll be a lot of
girls
fish in the
coming up.
market.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
Don't worry. Be happy."
Okay.
Oh, another good topic,
Ooh, yes.
which is maybe what I'd rather come for
Uh-huh.
than the one I mentioned earlier.
Uh-huh.
Marrying outside the culture.
Hmm. Okay.
That's something I have a lot to say on.
Let's make a deal.
Mm.
When you do find someone,
Yeah,
you bring her onto my show.
that's up to her now. I can't
And then
say anything
and then I
right
can
now.
have this episode where mixed cultural relationship and two different families joining and stuff. Then I can. Ooh, that'd be a really fun topic.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
I mean, first of all, my spouse has to be super cool, right? Like me. I don't care if you say that's Spain. I just have to make sure she has to be in my mentality level / intellectually and whatever. And if she's open-minded enough like me, then hell yeah. Then I can make that deal for her to come.
Do you think you're setting the standards a bit too high?
Okay, that's another good topic.
Yeah.
We
We just talk about expectations, right?
I've thought about that. I've definitely thought about that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I said it in my first pod, I'm not looking to get 10 out of 10 in my criteria.
Okay.
6 to 7, I'm happy. But one of the most important things is definitely mentality and
Right.
being open-minded. Because if you're not open-minded, and I am the non-filtered person I am, we're going to have a lot of fights. You understand?
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah, and the girl should be cool enough to also make crazy jokes and do crazy things that excite me.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that it has it's because like if I get someone you're saying to bring on a podcast and she's the most reserved, boring person, it's not gonna work, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that ends our episode. I'm gonna quickly end this here now. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I got a lot off my chest.
Yes.
There were definitely some twists and turns there.
So the therapist chair wasn't only the therapist.
I told you I came to a freaking Indian matchmaking, yo. Thailand Indian matchmaking.
I'm the Thailand Mr.
If
Siva.
you actually end up finding me someone through this podcast, I'm gonna promote the hell out of you. More than I already am.
Okay. We shall see what we can do for you.
I'm just playing. But yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on to my
Yeah,
show.
That was fun.
And that marks the end of my season.
Woo!
Yay! Wow. What a ride this has been, right? So many thought-provoking conversations, debates, and perspectives that I just had with Chandan. I hope you guys had fun as much as I did having these conversations with him. And I cannot thank my listeners enough for tuning in. Honestly, whether you've been here since episode 1 or you guys just recently tuned in, you guys are the reason this podcast even still exists. To my incredible guests, my supporters, and everyone who sent me their honest feedback, I could not thank you enough. This is just the beginning. Season 2 is going to be even more unfiltered, even more controversial, and even more real. So until then, stay bold, stay curious, and most importantly, stay unfiltered. See you guys in season 2. I'm your host, Amanpreet Kalra.